Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Shifting Lanes. My name is Hanson. Thank you so much for tuning in. And for this video, I'm sitting in the 2021 Volvo XC60. And I want to share with you my likes and dislikes about this SUV so that you have a better idea before you buy. This one is the T5 all-wheel drive Momentum trim. There's a couple of packages in here, bigger wheels and premium paint. So you can expect to pay anywhere around $50,000 before all the fees and incentives. And as equipped, all the technology, the convenience, and the safety features, this XC60 is becoming one of my favorite luxury crossovers. Let's first start with the exterior because these Volvos are some of the best looking SUVs out there. The overall design is athletic, starting from the front with the gaping grille, around to the sculpted sides, and finishing out back with the beautiful large LED taillights. Out front, I love the daytime running lights and the headlight configuration. These LED lights are bright and they can turn based on your steering inputs. If you've never driven a car with headlights that can pivot before, then I suggest you test drive one at night because these help out a lot when you're going around a corner. There's also cornering fog lights in here, which turns on if you're making a tighter turn. And out back, you find more LED lighting. And with the way these lights are configured, it's so distinctive that you can tell this is a Volvo from a quarter mile away. Moving into the interior, if you've hopped into any Volvo within the past couple of years, then you'll feel right at home here. They found a design that works and they've replicated this look across their entire lineup. And if you need proof, just take a look at our review of the XC90, XC40, and the V60 Cross Country. They all look very identical inside. All those reviews can be found in the link below. And I think it's a good thing that all of the interior looks the same because this works really well, feels high quality, and it's pretty luxurious. Starting with the 9-inch infotainment screen, this is a high quality screen with a lot of features packed in there. Now, I've complained about this infotainment system in the past because the lag and the slow response time didn't really reflect the high build quality of the rest of the car. But over the years, technology has improved and our phones have gotten faster, our tablets and computers have gotten faster, and these infotainment systems have also gotten a lot better. That's a great thing because almost all of the car's infotainment and vehicle settings are accessed exclusively through the screen. Your safety settings are accessed through here. Turning on various features like your wireless charging, blind spot monitoring settings, parking sensors are all accessible on this beautiful display. This Volvo has the $2,100 advanced package, which is totally worth it, and I'll discuss more later. And that gives you a 360-degree surround view. And images from those 4 cameras around the car look very crisp on this display. If you like to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, those smartphone integration tools will show up in the lower half of the screen. I like the split screen layout because you still have some of the critical Volvo infotainment information on display and it's still easily accessible. There really isn't a lot of lag except maybe during startup, but that's only for a few seconds. The experience overall is now more reflective of the build quality of this Volvo. I'm also a huge fan of the material selection in this Volvo, and I've said it before in my other reviews about Volvos, it feels like it's been designed for someone with good tastes. Nothing is chintzy or tacky feeling in here. Perhaps some people will feel differently about these cloth weave seats, and to be honest with you, I'm not really sure if I like them yet or not. But if you're not a fan, Volvo has some really nice leather offerings in dark brown, black, and light leathers for the same price. As for the rest of the materials, I love the quality of the switchgear. The engine start knob, the drive mode dial, the volume knob, and the music control buttons are quite nice. And I like the attention to detail as well, like the diamond cut knurling on all of the dials. If you've ever wondered why luxury cars are more expensive, it's because of stuff like this, the attention to detail. I also like the materials and the textures of the dash, and the cushion parts like the armrest and the areas in the door cards. All of these touch points help reduce fatigue for those long road trips. And the XC60 is one of those perfect cars for those long road trips, not just because the seats are comfortable and the materials are nice to the touch, but there's a lot of features from the driver's perspective that make driving a real joy and help automate some of the more boring parts of a road trip. I took this on a 250-mile road trip, and it's one of the more pleasant SUVs I've been in for a while. The fully digital instrument cluster is one of my favorite features in this SUV. I like the design and also the color palette. Some car companies go overboard with their animations where it can look a bit showy, but in this Volvo, The design is understated and beautiful. I like how the navigation is displayed front and center. I love the tach and the speedometer and how the needles and movements are visualized. There's also a heads-up display. That's part of the advanced package as well, and that displays your speed and navigation information. But my most favorite feature of this XC60 is the pilot assist, and that's a part of, you guessed it, the advanced package. Think of pilot assist as a really good cruise control. You have the adaptive cruise control portion, which sets the follow distance between you and the car in front of you, but this also has the ability of staying within a lane, and it does it really well to the point where it feels like a human is driving rather than a piece of software. So instead of this SUV reacting to the edge of the lane, it feels like it's really sensing the curvature of the road and finding the optimal path, sort of like how a human would drive. I'd say that I use the pilot assist feature for about 50% of my road trips, so over 100 miles. I drove it through New Jersey's Garden State Parkway, which if you're from the northern New Jersey area, you know how the lanes are very narrow and it's usually very congested. And the XC60's pilot assist was able to hold its own. It tracked the lanes pretty well, and it was able to follow the car in front of me. It's not a perfect system, however. I did drive through a lot of hard rain, and it was hard enough to the point where the pilot assist system couldn't turn on. I did notice though that if the pilot assist was still on but the road markings aren't too clear, or if there was too much water on the road, that it behaved more erratically. But overall, I think this is a great system. The center button turns it on, and toggling left and right chooses whether you're just using adaptive cruise control or pilot assist. And when you want to do your own driving, this XC60 is a pretty decent crossover. I like the steering response and the ride quality. The suspension is a bit on the firm side, but I prefer this type of ride over something softer like a Lexus. I still prefer the V60 Cross Country over this because the handling feels more athletic, and I also think it looks a lot better. If you're looking for a solid crossover alternative, you should really check out that wagon. The power of the XC60 is also pretty decent. Nothing earth-shattering. This has a turbocharged 4-cylinder that makes 250 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. In my opinion, for a 4,000-pound crossover, 250 horsepower is good enough. It would be nicer to have the more powerful T6, and that adds a supercharger on top of the turbocharged 4-cylinder, and that makes 316 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. But if you're not a speed junkie and are just looking for a solid daily driver, this T5 engine is more than enough. And the mileage is pretty decent as well, this one rated at 21 city and 28 highway. Overall, I recommend the XC60 if you're looking for a luxury compact SUV. This is larger than the XC40, which I also liked a lot, and if you're interested in watching that review, please click the link up here. Cargo capacity in the XC60 is decent at 17.8 cubic feet with the rear seats up, and 63.6 cubic feet with it down. So compared to the XC40, this has more power, more room, and it still drives pretty well. If you're thinking about picking one of these up, I highly encourage getting the advanced package as well, because that package makes this SUV that much better of a daily driver. Well, there you have it. That's my review of the 2021 Volvo XC60 T5 all-wheel drive Momentum. If you've learned something from this video or found it entertaining, please consider hitting that like, the subscribe, and notification buttons so that you can be notified anytime we make a new video. I'll wrap it up right there. My name's Hanson. This has been the XC60. I'll see you next time.